And good Tuesday morning, Fred. Is that mic on?
1, 2.
There you go.
Hi, good morning.
Make sure I pick the morning. And we are on the Chip Matthews Show with special guest Fred Cerami. Comes in every Tuesday at 9 o'clock to hang out with us and do this thing. As you noticed today, I've been kind of on a tear, having a little fun
with the trial.
Having a little results is always good. Let me get myself in the right place. That's you. Okay. And there's Fred. Okay. So everything's good. So I was just talking on the phone with someone who called me up and I had to verify. So I verified. Now, we've been talking about the Rudy Warnock case and we're talking about the corruption and all that goes on. Now, Fred, just answer me this. If you lost $2.7 million and you wrote 2 or 3 checks to get rid of it, and all they did was slap your hand, do you think you'd be in trouble if you worked for the county? You lost $2.7 million. You gave it to the wrong person.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Would I be in trouble?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be sitting here today.
Okay. Okay. We had, and then last month we had 2 girls. They at the Justice Court lost $3,000. There was a big stink about it, big investigation, and they were fired. Okay. Well, the girl that lost the $2.7 million, she got a raise yesterday for $8,000 a year.
Whatever happened to her case? $2.7 million.
The 2.7. Well, I've never seen anything announced that it is back. They always say that they've recovered some of the money, and I go, well, we hadn't arrested anybody yet because to recover it, it had to be somewhere.
Has to be somewhere.
That's just
Why'd she get a raise?
She got it for doing such a great job.
Come this way.
And now let's take this a step further. The raise was given in a 3-2 vote. So that means Casey Brannon and Trey Baxter did not vote for it. Okay. They also didn't vote for the others to get fired because they weren't treating family members the same way. Because she appears to be related to one of the 2 supervisors that either Banks or Griffin.
Politics.
I mean, politics
it's
sucks.
Family. It's family.
It's all family, y'all. It's all family. And if you ain't in their family, you don't get it.
How do you join the family?
I wonder how the real family would show up from Jersey and come up and deal with these people.
They wouldn't be alive.
No, they wouldn't be. Excuse me, you can't do that. But and then I hear that these 2 or 3 supervisors that cause all these they give out these raises, $8,000. $8,000 is a big raise, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. You lose 2.7. Hey, here's $8,000 a year. You know,
how'd she do it?
How'd she
be part of the family? She's part of the family.
Part of the family. That's it. Family politics goes deep, and I mean, you got 2 supervisors there that have been in office 30 years plus, and that means that everybody that works there that gets approved for a job is a family member, and they don't get fired. They don't have to do the work.
Hey, it goes all the way to the top, just like the President Biden situation and Hunter.
Right? Yeah. It's just like in Madison and Canton when they have all these problems. Now they're on trial because they messed up and messed around with federal money.
What goes around comes around.
And so, but now you got to remember, and it's real easy. You have 2 of these supervisors through an election campaign in our restaurant. A vote buying. Rudy paid for one in our restaurant on an election day where Banks lost by 1 vote. Okay. So if Rudy was paying for that day for the people to be carried to go vote, and then part of the 2 that have admitted in these aldermen, jumped alderman in Canton, 2 of them have admitted to taking payoffs and election fixing already. What is the chances that Rudy was working with others earlier? I just sit there and look at it and just go,
They're pleading guilty already.
They pled guilty. 2 aldermen pled guilty, and they're not sentenced until they come in and testify truthfully at trial about what's been going on.
Well, they're pleading guilty to something, and if their story gets bigger and bigger and bigger, will they get a bigger sentence?
That's a good question.
I mean, they already pleaded guilty.
Yeah, they already pled guilty, and one of them has already been found guilty of election corruption 4 years ago. Well, 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, this trial has been put off forever, and all these acts occurred 10 years ago when Rudy was fired from the supervisors. Then he got hired by Canton, and then he got fired by Canton, and he went to CMU, which of course Canton appoints the board at CMU. But that was where all the money was. They're going.
He
knows where the money is and where to go steal it from. He wasn't stealing it. Rudy wasn't stealing it because Rudy was buying the contracts. The people that are really stealing are the people that stole our trust. That would be the politicians who took their votes.
Ooh, this would be a big case.
You see what I'm saying?
This would be a big
These
case.
people stole our trust. We trusted them, and they're only supposed to get, a politician is only supposed to get like 5 years on something like this. And I just go, no, they should throw the book at them. They're the ones that really cheated us because we elected them. And then when you look at things like we got a phone call. Let's get this phone call. YAB, you're on the air. How you doing?
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Am I on the air?
Yes, sir.
Do I need to be polite?
You can be semi-polite and keep the bad words out. You're not going to talk about political corruption, I know.
No, man, this is family, right?
Yeah, family.
I'm just an unbiased observer.
Right.
You can go all the way back to like Carl Banks and his brother that owned a lot of land around Gluckstadt.
Yes.
He was the vote to every time never recuse himself to vote to improve roads and curbs and everything else where a normal person would recuse himself.
Right.
And I believe recently, didn't his brother get an IRS corruption thing for not reporting, money that they sold for land or something? Wasn't that part of family?
Yeah.
Something?
Yeah.
Well, let's go back even further. This is taxpayer money. That's actually taxpayer money. You know that parkway out there?
Yeah.
It's on the from Madison all the way up to Gluckstadt?
Oh, yeah.
How much money did the taxpayers pay for that?
I have no idea.
$45 million in tip bonds that the Madison County taxpayers were on the hook for. And you know how these tip bonds work, right?
Right.
Because I went to one of these board meetings. Mike Espy's the attorney. You had Griffin. You had Carl Banks. I can't remember the guy's name. He's got another job with the county now, but he had a vending company or something at one time, and somebody else.
Oh yeah.
Well, guess what the county was having to do, because when they signed these illustrious contracts for tip bonds with the landowners,
right?
Normally that the landowners have to pay the bond,
right?
Have to pay for the monthly services on it,
right?
Or they quit paying it,
right?
Why? Because they weren't selling anything,
right? And
guess what they had in there to make them pay for it?
What's
Not a dang thing. No clawback, no nothing.
And they let it go.
The county wrote a check for $45 million.
Correct.
Okay. That's mine and your money.
Right.
Packed house asking these questions. The illustrious attorney who basically was convicted of federal crimes. I'm thinking when he was agricultural, not convicted, charged with federal crimes. I don't know what the whole deal was when he was appointed. I wasn't here at that time.
Yeah. Well.
But it was pointed out that 3 of them were.
Right.
Okay. And then one of them who, actually goes to the funeral home a lot, turned his chair completely around when the question was asked, wouldn't even look at people, basically it's beneath him. So we paid for $45 million for all those improvements.
Right.
And now they got a parkway or interchange going up.
Right.
Well, you think those landowners are going to pay for that now?
No. Well,
can't do that.
Well, one of those pieces of land is a piece of land that Mary Hawkins has carried them to court over because they bought it from themselves twice.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
did not even realize
oh,
that.
yeah, that's going up
So,
too. That's in court too. And then, of course, you got the great water park or lake that they built up in North Madison County on Sulphur
Oh yeah,
Springs.
in Griffin's area. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but I'm just saying that there's a reason that banks and all them fight tooth and nail for a $55,000 a year job that is quote part time. Is from, it's the same in every county. I mean,
Right.
It's basically, if you took away the government money, I mean, there's so many of these politicians, and we got retired governors. Why do you think that we have medical marijuana now?
Retired governors.
Because we have so many retired governors that have their own, dispensaries and everything else. There's at least 3 that I know of.
Right.
That if you go riding up and down the road, it's them and their lobbyists that own them.
So since
and
they're not making any medical marijuana money, really, because there's only there are so few people that have the medical card.
Well, guess what's coming next?
Yeah, you know what's coming next.
Recreational.
Recreation.
Deny somebody. It's no different than a beer.
No, it's no different. Never mind.
And so that, and guess who's going to be put? It's going to be on the ballot. Oh my gosh, we got to let the people speak. You know.
Well, you can't put it on. You can't have a ballot initiative because they haven't given us back that right yet.
Oh, it'll be a miracle. They'll word it some way. Just
But the reality is the last thing to pass on the ballot initiative was the state flag, which put it in the Constitution that the old Mississippi flag would be the flag. And then the last other thing that passed before that was medical marijuana. And then they took that off. They just said, no, that didn't. None of that happened. None of that happened.
But if you want to ask a question, ask Rudy where those plans are that he got $1 million on the way out the door for the new airport.
Hey, what about, and one of those pieces of land he was looking at for that airport is suddenly where that solar farm is out on 43.
Amazing. But anyway, but I'm just saying he got $1 million all I had to do was Google Maps and you could pay me. I'd take $1 million and, spend about $5 on Google Maps. But I'm just saying that was our board of supervisors. And,
right.
In some places up in New Jersey, that's called hush money.
Yes.
But I don't know. But I just laugh about, you go back and I still remember that $45 million on that parkway. And they were fighting, and it's a couple of current supervisors fighting with the Department of Transportation, trying to get them to put that in. They said, we got other needs. And now all of a sudden, but what kicks it is the TIF bonds.
Right.
All these mayors and supervisors put that in. Well, if it's worth doing, you don't need to do it. And I could give you an example where the Lowe's in Ridgeland used to be a storage unit there.
Right.
Well, they basically had Lowe's come in.
Right.
Lowe's was supposed to pay out their tax revenue and pay it off.
Right.
They were about $600,000 short.
Right.
City of Ridgeland paid for it. Well, one of the politicians said it was well worth the investment for that eyesore, that storage unit to be gone. Well, that ain't his money.
Well,
that's the citizens of Ridgeland's money.
When you talk about stuff like that, I mean, look at all those hooker hotels that are sitting up there. And then that whole County Line Road, that's going to be a wasteland soon.
Well, I'm just saying, when he said that, I saw that in print, and I'm like thinking, but it's not your money. I said you should make Lowe's pay, but they were short over the time frame because they didn't get enough tax revenue to pay off the bonds and land and everything else. But It was well worth it to get rid of the eyesore. And I'm thinking to myself, I said, it ain't same thing. I don't know. It's just funny. They come in and say, let us throw this money at you. My cousin over here needs a job. Pay him X number of dollars. I'm just like, it is the Sopranos.
Trust me, when they give up a piece of land on it, somebody paid something for it to go away.
Well,
Lowe's probably still paid, but the debt got erased.
Well, no, the county wrote the check for the remaining $500,000, $600,000. Not the county, the city.
Yeah.
Because it was something in one of these local little rags or something, jambalaya or something. Yeah. And then I saw the quote, and I'm like, boy, I wouldn't want to have, but but basically it'd be like, you're spending your neighbor's money and saying, well, it was worth it for me to, do this. I'm like, well, it's my money. Why did you spend my money?
See, my question is in the Rudy case down here, are we actually, if we get truthful testimony, it's just going to lead to more and more and more and more, isn't it?
Well, it could be like the Epstein files. It ain't going to get no truthfulness out of it. All of a sudden, that file that was on our AG's desk with the list is like, what file?
I agree. It's going to be entertaining.
I just was driving and listening. I appreciate you when you said that. I was like, goes back a lot longer than that.
Yes, it does.
And basically we got a guy that they just redrew Carl's lines that he'll never get out of there, and Steen's lines he'll never be able to get out of there.
For me to tell you that Carl Banks starts in Canton, goes to Flora, then goes down Ridgewood Road to touch the reservoir, that's insane. That's
well, but it's anyway. It's and the sad thing is, there's a lot of people paying money, into that Canton school district.
Oh yeah.
And I don't even know if half those kids can spell graduate.
Well, the other side of that is if you and look, they've got. I was going to talk about that too. They're wanting to raise their ad valorem tax again, just ahead of getting tons of money in the future from. We're only a year or two away from getting our the new Amazon money and Coca-Cola money that's going into that school district, and they want to raise the rate right now. And physically inside the city limits of Canton, we don't have any kids going to school. That's a retirement community. There's nobody there.
Well, no, they go there, but the numbers have dropped because a lot of those kids, if their parents can, even every parent wants your kid to have something better.
Well, they all say that their senior year they need to go to they get into Gluckstadt or wherever because they can't get a school to accept a student out of Canton High School in some college programs.
Well, yeah. That's true, and so they're transferring. But anyway, it's sad. It's a bigotry of low expectations, but it's an employment system, and even without the kids, it's like everybody's going to stay there and get a doctorate degree or whatever on the administration side. It's the Jackson Public Schools. Jackson Public Schools, the
same thing.
And I went there years ago. There is such a less students there. Why do you have growing administration and teachers?
That's exactly right.
Especially administration, same thing there. But you start. But I remember that. I remember when they built that parkway, and I remember the Madison residents writing that check because the landowners, there was no clawback.
Correct.
And if you're a lawyer or you're a county supervisor, why do you not have a clawback like a lien on the property in the contract?
Exactly.
They don't pay it.
And I don't understand why you have bonds on. You're going to hire somebody insurance and bonded, and a bridge they build, it falls down, and you go, oh, we got to build a new bridge. Well, why wouldn't it go against their bond?
But anyway, it's interesting. I enjoy. I was walking in somewhere and said, you know what? I'll call and I'll be polite. But y'all enjoy your day. Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. We'll be back after this. We're on the Chip Matthews Show. Fred Cerami and myself sitting in this morning.
Thanks,
and yes, we're talking about
after this. We're on
crime and corruption.
Chip Matthews Show. Fred Cerami
in Madison County, and they're not even Italian.
Yes, we're talking about crime and corruption in Madison County, and they're not even Italian.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
Nick Bain served Mississippi for over a decade in the State House. During that time, he fought for our children by protecting them against explicit materials pushed by the woke agenda. He protected taxpayers by streamlining government and helped create policies that have made Mississippi better. Nick and his team at Bain Bowen will use the same tenacity in helping you with all your legal matters. Call them today at 601-953-2994. Find Nick online at bainbowen.com. That's BAIN Bowen.com.
Why should you choose Cerami Air Conditioning and Heating for all service or installation? Well, they purchase all parts directly from the manufacturer. All of their factory-trained technicians have been hand-selected for skill, work ethic, and experience. There are never any hidden fees or charges. Cerami Air Conditioning and Heating is dedicated to your complete satisfaction, and they're family-owned and operated. For residential and commercial service or installation, contact Cerami Air Conditioning and Heating, 601-317-0729, or make an appointment through their Facebook page.
much. Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
Are you a wine enthusiast? Are you looking for the perfect bottle to elevate your next dinner? The ultimate destination for wine lovers is 042 Wine and Spirits on West Government Street in Brandon. They're locally owned, they're locally operated. 042 Wine offers something for everyone, from local favorites to rare vintage wines. 042 Wine and Spirits can help you find your next favorite wine. The friendly and knowledgeable folks at 042 Wine and Spirits will help you find the perfect bottle for every occasion. 042 Wine and Spirits, located on West Government Street in Brandon. Looking for the perfect spot to unwind with friends and family? El Patrio Mexican Restaurant is calling your name. With locations in Flowood and Cross Gates, Brandon, El Patrio is the cozy, family-owned gym where great food meets great times. Enjoy El Patrio's signature margaritas and happy hour specials that keep their customers coming back for more. Indulge in their authentic Mexican dishes prepared with love and served in a warm, family-friendly atmosphere. Come to El Patrio and taste the traditions. El Patrio, where family, flavor, and fun come together.
Would you like a free ice cream? Head on over to Bumpers Drive-In on Highway 49 in Flora. If you're craving a juicy made-to-order burger and crispy golden fries, if you want to taste the best hand-breaded chicken tenders you've ever had, if you want a hand-mixed milkshake or a whirl with Nutter Butters, Oreos, then bump on into Bumpers Drive-In in Flora. Exclusively at the Flora location. Mention you heard them on WYAB and you'll receive a free frosty ice cream with your order. Attention homeowners and business owners. Complete Exteriors is now Elite Roofing and Gutters. Are your roof and gutters storm ready? The folks at Elite are your local experts in storm protection. Now is the time for an inspection and for proactive solutions that ensure your roof and gutters can withstand any storm. Get up to a possible $250 rebate on a new roofing system for all active military, veterans, and retirees. Online at EliteRoofer.com.
Well, I'm sitting here today with one of my favorite clients, Reggie Bromfield. The first time I believe we worked together was around 25 years ago, wasn't it, Reggie?
I remember that time. My wife, Kathy, and I we were looking for a home. He sold that house to us, and when we got ready to buy another home, he helped us sell that home and buy another home. So 25 years later, when we decided to purchase another home, your name was the only one in our minds.
601-720-4037, RitaJensen.net.
Welcome back to the Chip Matthews Show, and here is your host, Chip Matthews.
I am your host, Chip Matthews, along with the Fred Cerami, our mob boss in charge
on WYAB radio.
So Fred, you've heard of, Italians kind of get a bad rap for a little mob activity.
Right.
Would
Way
you
back.
say this family that runs the county is much bigger than some of the mob bosses?
I guess the territory has their people. They have
See, at least in the mob,
they have their family.
but the mob, they keep it in the family.
That's right.
Right?
It's all.
But this mob that runs that are elected mob, they involve all of us. They don't care. They're going to hit everybody. They're just crooks. And it's sad because good people that would run and be politicians don't want to run because they don't want to be involved in it. And everybody goes, you can't get involved. You can't get involved. It just drags you down. It's like I've been fighting this, waiting on this Rudy Warnock trial for some time, but I've been fighting the corruption in Madison County and Canton for a long time. Everybody says, Chip, you're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to get anywhere. Right now, we're getting somewhere. It took 10 years to get here, but we're here.
We're here.
We're here. We got a trial. Took 13 delays, but we're here. 3 judges, but we're here. We're in court. Now, will they get the truth out? Jeff Thomas says, good morning, Fred.
Good morning, Jeff.
This and Jenny says hello, and Donna Yavel. But I mean, this is what goes on. The corruption. You know, I know people that are trying to do projects left and right, and they say, Chip, I went into the city to have a meeting, and since they couldn't find any money for them in our project, they just turned it down. I go, well, that's the way it works. You can show up with $1 million to do the project, and they're going to say, what's my cut?
Well, sooner or later, enough is going to be enough. If people
Well-
are going to speak up, enough is enough. And you finally have a trial because enough is enough.
Right. And, you know, they talk about the Epstein trial. They talk about the Epstein list disappearing. Well, all this information was laying out there with the corrupt Democrats for 4 years until the Republicans got a hold of it. I still don't think that this list has disappeared.
He got indicted for something.
He got indicted for
They had to have a list.
But my question to you is, what throws you off? What throws everybody off when you say something like that? When you say, well, I don't have the list. Will the Democrats let their guard down and then they get slammed? I mean, I figured when the big, beautiful bill got signed that over the next few weeks, months, we're going to start working on corrupt. I mean, Trump's back to talking about how the election was stolen from him, right? I mean, he was talking hard about it the other day. That just tells you right there that Trump and that government and that Republican government we have in place has got some more cards to play. And
Well, they better be careful now. You know,
and-
they had their foot in the water themselves.
right. Well, I mean, there's some Republicans that are in trouble, but I saw where, and I hadn't seen it in the mainstream news. I saw it the other day where they said that Trump had already that he put out on Truth Social. I got to go check it. That he was getting rid of all the pardons. I saw that online. Oh yeah. So more to come. More to come. Okay, we got to take another break since we ran a little long the first time. We'll be right back here on the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB. Okay, we got to take another break since we ran a little long the first time. We'll be right back here on the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB.
1039 WYAB. Y'all come see us at Flora Animal Hospital, your trusted hometown vet. We offer a wide variety of veterinary services, including boarding. Dr. Kaylee McCary is a Madison County native who has been serving the Flora community and surrounding areas since 2013. She leads our team of highly trained and compassionate women. We are located at 740 Highway 49 in the Cotton Exchange Plaza. Call us today at 601-879-3222. At Flora Animal Hospital, we treat your pets like our own.
It can be hard to move past the guilt, times of weakness and regret, knowing you weren't there for your family when they needed you the most. But there is life after addiction. We're seeing broken families restored, one man at a time, through our vehicle, cash, and thrift store donations. It's given Mercy House Adult and Teen Challenge the ability to help these men succeed in having better lives. Donate a vehicle, running or not, and we'll come pick it up. Call today, 601-572-7296, or visit us at vehicledonationsms.com.
CBS News Brief. At least 104 people now confirmed dead in the catastrophic flooding in central Texas as volunteers search for more victims and possible survivors. Sonny White is holding out hope for a missing friend.
He was camping in a trailer that we found. The trailer was wrapped around a tree the other day and just discovered his car yesterday and confirmed that.
President Trump pushed Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to reach an agreement to pause fighting in Gaza during a meeting at the White House last night. CBS's Natalie Brand.
The president has still remained hopeful that a ceasefire deal could be reached as early as this week.
CBS News confirms the TSA is phasing out a rule requiring passengers to pass through airport security in stocking feet.
The TSA agent was really happy because she said, "Oh, you don't have to take off your shoes." I was watching others go through the screening and they didn't take their shoes off. And I was like, yes, finally.
CBS News Brief. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
Men, let's talk about low testosterone. Do you suffer from any of these symptoms? Low sex drive, ED. Are you always tired, depressed? You have loss of muscle mass? You're obese? Maybe you have loss of focus and drive? Then you, my friends, may suffer from low testosterone. Let my buddies over at Men's Health in Mississippi, located right there in Madison, check your numbers today. Trust me, she'll thank you for it. I promise. Check them out online at menshealthms.com. That's menshealthms.com. Men's Health Mississippi. School's out, and McBee's in Ridgeland is the perfect place for family fun this summer. Enjoy our famous $12 Blue Plate specials every Monday through Friday, and now kids eat for just $5. That's right, just $5. Bring out the whole crew and enjoy our huge patio with lots of TVs, plenty of fans, and a safe space where kids can play while you kick back and relax. Family friendly, budget friendly, and always a good time. McBee's Bar and Grill, buzzing the res since 1982. Check out McBee's Bar and Grill on Facebook for today's special.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico's Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in and experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
Are you looking for a church family to connect with? One that will provide opportunities to grow in your spiritual life, as well as a chance to serve others? First Baptist Flora may be just the place for you. We're located at 102 Jackson Street in Flora. To worship with us in person, we have a traditional worship service that begins Sunday mornings at 8:30. Then our life groups meet at 9:45, and the Refuge Contemporary service begins at 11 a.m. We also have a midweek service every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. So come join us at First Baptist Flora, where we're making much of Jesus.
Welcome back to the Chip Matthews Show, and here is your host, Chip Matthews.
Chip Matthews along with Fred Cerami on a Tuesday here on WYAB. We're going to switch it up for a second because we're going to talk about Rudy on the way out here and the trial, because I'll be going down there after a quick trip to Canton. But we were talking about the flood,
right?
The tragedy of the flood, and how they want, Democrats are out saying it was because of layoffs at the weather center, this, that, and the other. You're in an area there in Texas that is prone to flooding, and it also has dams and all of that built just like our reservoir dam. And when you have 27 feet of water come in at one time,
and so quickly.
I mean, you can't. There wasn't anything that they could do about it. I mean,
within a half hour.
I mean,
it's unbelievable.
And I'm gonna ask you to think about it for just a second as a person. When the sirens go off at your house and you hear the sirens, you go, oh, I hear the sirens, and then if it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you just roll over and go back to sleep, right? I mean, that's.
That's right. Tornado warnings. You go to the bathroom, you go in part of the house and just
and if
wait.
And if your neighbor's house gets blown away or something, the next day you're in the news going, "We didn't hear no sirens." Those rednecks be out. We didn't hear them. The black people, they don't have one in our neighborhood. I mean, it.
What a shame. Here it is. The day before 4th of July. Having a nice time at the campsite, having a good time to go wait for the fireworks tomorrow, barbecue, having a wonderful time with your families, the retreat, the Girl Scouts, and what a shame. You never know.
And see,
you never know
God's plan. But here's the reality. The kind of water they got would be if the spillway failed and all that water came down that quick. And that's what you're looking at. So when people talk about early warning systems, I mean, y'all, we spend millions of dollars in Mississippi getting warning systems. Every time you turn around, it's usually a county and some cousin is doing it for some county supervisor, putting them in for you. And he puts them in, but he doesn't go by and check the batteries in them and everything else. It's every time we pay for something, it's just a scam. Nobody ever does anything the right way. They don't test them, and they test them at the first of the month. And then when they test them, do they actually hear them, or are they just pressing the button somewhere in downtown Jackson and nobody knows which ones went off and which ones didn't. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of safety system.
Well, we hit the first day of the month, we hear the siren go off at 12 noon.
Right.
In our area in Flowwood.
Yeah.
We hear the siren.
You hear it.
At 12 noon.
Okay.
It's working.
Okay. So it's working then. What you going to do if it goes off at 4 a.m?
You don't know.
You're going back to sleep, right? Unless the weather, unless it's like cutting up real bad outside, you just go back to sleep. Some people are like, I sleep better to the rain and the storms. I go to sleep to that. I put it on the TV with the black screen and listen to thunder and lightning.
I don't know about you, but if it was storming outside and I hear it on a roof, that I'd stay awake. I'd be looking out the window and, man.
I say, if it's going to get me, it's going to get me. That's all I say. When it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Because whenever I can get sleep, I'm getting it. I have to.
Well, you need to.
Period.
Be here at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I got here this morning. I woke up and I said, I feel like I'm running ahead of time. Then I realized that I walked in this building at 4 a.m.
What?
Yeah, I got here before my alarm went off. And I just went, oh, well. Yeah, that's a nice couch. Jolynn, Canton doesn't do sirens on the 1st. Of course we don't. Of course we don't. We don't have the electricity or the power to do so.
Do you have sirens up there?
Yeah, we got sirens.
Well, they should.
Well, I mean, they're supposed to. And if you go and ask them, they'll say they do. Okay, I lived in the Canyon Lake, Texas, 2000 to 2004. This is Anita Ford, Summerall. And the river will flood. It happens to us in 2002. Prayers for Kiva. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's places, just like the place in North Carolina where it was all rock. If a big storm comes, the water doesn't have a place to go. It just goes down the hill, and it starts to build up. And when you live in a flood-prone area, now I will say this for this area, if you had weather conditions and you knew about them ahead of time, and they're saying that, well, they can't predict. Well, look, they can't predict when it's going to snow and not snow. I don't know why y'all think that they can predict when it's going to rain heavy or rain light. They know it's going to be a little intensity, but they don't know that buckets are going to be falling out of the sky rather than.
You could have every day around here.
Yeah.
You never know if it's going to rain or not. You can't trust the weather.
But we have dirt. It's going to go in our dirt. Well, not right now. It's kind of saturated. But I mean, the reality is the rain's going to fall, people. And when we get a warning, we're either going to move or not move. And like, for instance, those people were set up for the 4th of July for camping, and they said, it'll blow over. And that's all they did. And what it sounds to me like in the areas like that, they need to say, if we give this warning, a level warning, that you have to you have to move your trailer or get out of there.
That's right.
If it's this kind of weather at that level, it's sort of like hurricanes. Hurricanes, there are people that stay for hurricanes. They will ride it out when everybody else is leaving
Hurricanes,
town.
Tornadoes.
Yeah. You don't, and you don't know where they're going to hit. And so it didn't really.
Well, hanging around at a tornado, having a hurricane party.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
That was I remember that in 68.
That's right.
Camille.
Man, they got wiped away.
Yep.
They had the hurricane parties.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, how many times do things happen and nothing happens? I lived in South Florida and in Naples my senior year of high school. And the first time it rained, I took off running and all my friends looked at me and they go, where are you going? The rain, it's just going to pass right over us, be gone in 2 seconds. Huh? And that's the way it is. They don't think about it that way. And hurricanes, let's get you saw it out there for the hurricane that's coming in now or came in the other day. All they do is in the Gulf, on the Gulf side of the Florida, is they get their surfboards out and look for a 3-foot wave. That's as big as they've ever gotten. And you get on a board. I was in, actually, a hurricane was coming into Naples in 1980. And my buddies told me, let's go get on the surfboard. So we went out in the water to get it on the surfboard because it was like in Cuba or someplace at that time. And we turned the boat upside down and had to get picked up by a helicopter.
Really?
Oh, yes, really. And I thought we were having fun. The throttle got stuck on the boat wide open, and we went up there and it flipped over. I thought we were having fun, everybody's face, you look like you're laughing when you're not. So
you don't mess with Mother Nature.
No, you do not.
You don't mess with
and things happen.
Look at Katrina.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, it came up. People went up in the attic.
Yeah.
Came up. They couldn't get out.
But see, that was actually after Katrina, really. The storm hit. See, my dad was down there on Bourbon Street. He left and came to the house in Canton. Then I rode with him back down there, and everybody was talking about you can't get in here, blah, blah, blah. We drove straight to the bar on Bourbon Street. And then they said the levees, the water was coming up.
Right.
And he says, let's go get as many. So we went and got ham sandwiches and stuff like that for him to make inside the store. His bar stayed open the entire time.
Really?
On Bourbon Street. They didn't have, and then we brought him back a generator, and then we left. And I drove back to here, and then like 2 days later, you see everybody at the Superdome and all that going crazy, and I'm going, And I called him, and he says, "I'm fine. Where are you?" "I'm on Bourbon Street. It ain't got here." He goes, "Now we got people acting crazy, and we have to sit in here with guns."
They were raping in the Superdome.
Yep. But anyway, so what you gonna do today, Fred?
Well, I never chew gum. Okay, and I had a friend over came up from Lafayette, Louisiana. My friend Scott came up for the weekend. He was chewing gum. He left some gum on the counter. I said, "Well, I tried a piece of this gum. And guess what? My cap fell out. My crown fell out this morning. So I'm going to the dentist to get my crown put back on. I hope. Lord knows what's happening. You never know.
No.
Today, we don't know about the weather. If it's in rain or not.
And so you got crowns. You got two You got 2 new hips.
2 new hips. Doctors.
Yeah.
I went to 3. Every time I had 2 new hips, my back is bothering. So I went to Mississippi Sports Medicine. I get one opinion what they want to do. So I better get another opinion. So I went to a second doctor. He gave me a different opinion. I went to a third doctor, St. Dominic's, and he gave me another opinion. 3 different doctors, 3 different procedures. Who do you trust?
You got to keep going till you get 2 that match.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
You got to get 2 that match.
Then I finally went to Meridian, got an opinion there.
Yeah.
And we're going to do a procedure.
But at least you ate it. What's the name of that restaurant?
Whiteman's.
I like that restaurant.
Good old. Been there forever.
Oh yeah.
One of the first restaurants in the state.
Yes.
Whiteman's.
Oh yeah.
Still there.
Great atmosphere. Great atmosphere.
Great food.
We need restaurants that look. I wish we had restaurants that looked like old restaurants again. That are classic like that. None exist.
Like Antoine's in New Orleans.
Yeah.
White tablecloth, bentwood chairs.
Yeah.
You get some bentwood chairs at your restaurant, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Those are classics.
Yep. I mean, I like it. I mean, I like a great restaurant. I like the opulence of New Orleans when you go into a dining establishment. And
we have some fine restaurants here, but it's not like the old classics.
Yeah, they're just not built that way. They're just they're restaurants. They're just not like another chain, even when they're locally owned. I would love to have an old school type restaurant, but to build an old school type restaurant would cost you a fortune to make it look that old.
And it costs a fortune to run it too.
Yep. And then
you gotta know what you're doing.
You got to find some people to work it. But anyway, 9:49 in the morning on a Tuesday morning. Chip Matthews along with Fred Cerami. We're taking our final break. We're going to come back, talk a little bit more corruption about the politicians here in Madison County and in Canton and at the Rudy Warnock trial. We're going to talk about that right after this on WYAB. We're going to talk about that right after this on WYAB.
1039 WYAB.
Hey everybody, it's John at Two Gun Tactical. We're having Kim Wade Wednesdays at both locations. So you come in and mention Kim Wade on a Wednesday, you get half price range fees. Hey, if you're a member, we're going to give you an extra free target just for mentioning Kim Wade Show. Come on in and work on your shooting and exercise that 2A right that if we don't fight for it, we won't have it much longer. It's 2guntactical.com. That's the number 2guntactical.com.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Cork and Door Company has been providing quality residential garage and commercial overhead door products to Mississippians for over 50 years. Cork and Door is a supplier of garage door parts and services such as LiftMaster, commercial and residential door operators, as well as Clopay, sectional commercial and residential doors, Asta, commercial sheet and rolling steel doors, and Cornell, rolling steel and shutters, with many in stock for the same day pickup. CorkandDoor.com. That's CorkandDoor.com.
The mowing season is full on here in Mississippi. I'm David Frederick, owner of Frederick Sales and Service in Brandon. The industry-changing Exmark Laser Z commercial mower turns 30 years old this year and has been redesigned with even more great features you just have to see. We have a sale going on with instant rebates, and 0% financing is available too. Stop by our store and let our award-winning staff show you the Exmark difference. Fredericks and Exmark, over 3 decades serving you in Brandon since 1993.
This ad is for all the guys who work hard and they expect their truck to do the same. At RPT Commercial, we have the accessories to help you on the job site. From names like Bedrock flatbeds, WeatherGuard toolboxes, Nap-High service bodies, ARE camper tops, deck storage solutions, and so much more. Stop by our new store on Highway 80 in Pearl and check with our expert staff and see what they can do to make the job just a little bit easier on you. At RPT Commercial, trucks live here.
Can't take your team out to lunch? Have lunch brought to your team with Mangia Bene Catering. You already know Mangia Bene. They're the masterminds behind Broad Street Bakery, Bravo Italian Restaurant, and Sal and Mookie's. And now Mangia Bene wants to feed your office of 10, 100, or even 1,000. Delicious box lunches, salads, sandwiches. We even do breakfast. Take your next lunch meeting up a level. Mangia Bene Catering. Call Mangia Bene to get started. 601-362-2900. That's 601-362-2900.
The Tri-County Academy Rebel success in the classroom and on the athletic stage begins with the Tri-County Academy Booster Club. Join the team and be a Rebel by getting involved in volunteering as a booster. Your involvement is the generator for fundraisers, facility upgrades, equipment, uniforms, and all other needs. Tri-County Athletics thrives in part because of our TCA boosters. Join today by calling the TCA main office at 601-879-8517 and help the Rebels continue the championship tradition.
Hi, everyone. This is Matt Wasilowski, owner and general manager of 1039 WYAB. How much money does the state of Mississippi spend on advertising? A little over $10 million each and every year. Apparently, some people think that it's vitally important for the state of Mississippi to promote the Memorial Stadium, the Department of Marine Resources, soybean and rice products, MDOT, the State Fair, and the worst category of all, miscellaneous advertising expenditures for who knows what. And who pays for it all? In most cases, you, the taxpayer. I find that absolutely abhorrent. That's why 1039 WYAB refuses to accept advertising dollars from state government agencies. If you ever do hear a state agency advertising on WYAB, we're not getting paid for it. We stay on the air due to the support of the many businesses that you hear advertising every day on 1039 WYAB. So I only ask that you please tell our advertisers that you appreciate their support of 1039 WYAB. And keep listening.
Welcome back to the Chip Matthews Show, and here is your host, Chip Matthews.
Chip Matthews along with Fred Cerami here on the program here on WYAB. Catch up with us on WYAB.com. Also, hit the like and love button on the Facebook pages, and we'll keep in touch with you. Thank everybody for all the comments this morning. So we're going to go from disaster relief, which I'm going to ask you this question. You got all these new people that just went into office. Okay. What if something happened in Jackson right now?
Do they have an emergency control set up?
That's my question, is when you go from one administration to the next, and the current administration has been firing people left and right, which is needed done. Don't get me wrong. What is the plan if something were to happen? What if it was...
Don't you think EMA would send in for Mississippi, like FEMA?
FEMA?
FEMA and was it?
And
MEMA? MEMA was, and I'm sure
they would step up.
They're over. I imagine they'd be over the city rulings.
Well,
they take over.
Well, what would happen then is then the Democrats would show up and say, hold on just a second. You're taking our space and what we need to be doing, and you're wanting to get our money. You just give us the money and we'll get it all done and cleaned up. I mean, it becomes, it's like in Canton.
They have to have a plan.
It's like in Canton. We have new administration there that has been there, some of them for 7 years, some of them for 20 years. And
20 years
in
Oh my
office.
God.
I mean, that's what goes on. And they knew of this flood money that came into town years ago to be worked on and to rebuild and do the flooding. And it was misspent. And they acted like, well, that nothing we can do about it now. Well, let's move on to something else. They should have prosecuted people. This stuff was testified to in court in Canton when these corrupt people were saying they were cheating us in elections.
And they didn't do anything with the money.
Then the money's gone.
What did they do for flood control up there?
We don't have flood control there.
But you had the money to do it at one time.
We've had tons of studies and no flood control. We recently got $53 million to work on flood control, and they on the day after the election flew to Washington to get another $125 million to go with it, and then the county wants to help them.
The county
wants to step in and help. They want to. So basically, everybody's stepping in, wanting their cut of the money, and Canton will flood again soon. It just does. It floods in some of the places that it should never have flooded, and a lot of people don't understand why it floods. It floods because there's been no maintenance on the underground system. When I was a kid, I used to ride my bike underneath the square. Under the square in cavernous holes, drainage pipes.
Really?
And would get in trouble for it. My grandmother would be all over me. But I know how big those pipes are underneath the square. You can drain it all. And somebody says, that ain't like
Where's
that.
it drain to?
Where's it drain to? I don't know where. It empties out.
Well, I know on 51 as you go driving up from Madison to Canton.
Right.
51 is like on a levee.
Right.
Because it drops off
right
10, 15 feet. Is that part of the drainage?
Well, the drainage system, is supposed to take the water to Big Black. Water from Canton goes north, not south.
Really?
Yeah. Same for everything they built up in Madison. And Gluckstadt and all that. All that did was push water back into Canton.
I thought all rivers run south.
Not in Madison County. We got big money in Madison County. We run them any way we want. But that's what goes on. Water doesn't flow naturally.
Where does the Big Black come in?
Big Black's up here above Flora.
Where does it come by Canton? Where is it?
It isn't in Canton. You got to go up. You got to go north of the
like towards Lexington.
Yeah, you got to go north toward Yazoo City. It's on the Madison County line north of Canton, and you go that way, and then but you got to go. You got to go the wrong way to get.
In order for water to flow north, it's got to build up.
Say goodbye, Fred. We're going to the trial, and we got 20 seconds.
Go to the trial.
Okay.
We'll
see y'all later right here on WYAB. Andrew Gasser is next. Well, yeah, Andrew Gasser's next.
WYAB. See you next week.